Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Grip Vision's coverage of Tuesday Night Champion Power Equipment Truck Series action here at IRP, or Lucas Oil Raceway. Of course, my name's Brian Britt. I have, of course, Brayton, I should say, Laster. Sorry if I butcher your name, Brayton, but glad to have you. Of course, down behind the cameras is Austin Derbyshire. Excited to see, of course, this .69 mile short track, very unique short track in action here tonight, as I do believe this is our fifth race and the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, 150 laps of action. Before we get too far into the details, though, let's take a quick look at the schedule for, of course, the remainder of the week. And of course, tomorrow, not going to have really anything going on, but of course, we're going to have some action on Thursday night. Talladega going to be making an appearance in the SSRL Truck Series, of course, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday night, me and Austin Edstrom are going to be on the call there for the NIS Series. Top split action at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Homestead Miami Speedway. Of course, Saturday, we're going to see the Major Series at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 87s at North Wilkesboro, for I do believe a 400-lap race there. Going to be an exciting one for sure. Sunday, we got a doubleheader of some Homestead action there with the Global Racing Truck Series at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the trucks, of course, later that night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to see Homestead back in action in the, of course, Xfinity car in the RGR Kailu Glass Cup Xfinity Series. So make sure you tune in for that action-packed field Sunday night. But, Brayton, glad to have you here, man. How are you feeling about this racetrack? I mean, we were talking a little bit before the broadcast began. You actually have some experience with this racetrack. Is that correct?
Yes, this is a very unique racetrack. It's kind of a multi-groove around the top. The higher and closer you get to the wall, the faster you're going to go, but at the risk of tearing up your racetrack tonight. Going to see a lot of action. I feel like we've averaged 7.5 cautions so far this season, with a season high of 13 at Bristol a couple weeks ago. I feel like we're going to see a lot of people wanting to use that front bumper, get to the front. Tire saving may or may not become an issue depending on how long of a green flag run we get. This track is a very old surface, very abrasive surface, and it's going to eat through tires if you don't take care of them. Like I mentioned, you can run the top and it can be fast, but at the cost of your tires, you can run towards the middle and try to save your tires for a long run. So there's a lot of different strategies, a lot of different driving styles that can play out here, but it's about who's going to be the most dangerous with their car while keeping it in one piece.
100%. Of course, let's take a quick look at the championship points in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here. And, of course, John Lucido, points leader. Who would expect that? I mean, the 73, of course, has been very, very consistent all season long. One of his best seasons I think he's ever had. Of course, James Harris sits in second place, just a couple points back. James South, of course, is in third. Justin Levine, of course, sits in that fourth place position, tied with Keegan Sabila, who's in fifth. Nathan Meyer, of course, tied as well for that fourth place position. He's in sixth. Seventh place, Brad Thacker, I should say. Eighth place, Craig Ganzak, really needing, I do believe he is the current reigning champion, is going to really need to have a good run in order to get back into the running here. He's in eighth. Ninth place, Mark Math, and Brandon Ball is in 10th. Very tight points. Of course, it has loosened up a little bit here, but of course, we'll have to see how this goes here. I know Keegan Sabilo, I think he's one of my favorites here tonight. He has a lot of short track experience in real life. Do you think that's going to play in tonight? We'll definitely have to see. Of course, 80 degrees on the track right now. Fuel window, from what I've been hearing from Brayton, has been about 125, I do believe. So shouldn't see fuel really be a big deal here. But it looks like we got the starting grid here. Let's see exactly who's going to be starting where. Of course, Keegan Sabilo, who I just talked about being my favorite, he's going to be on the pole. Andrew Hale is going to be starting in second place. Craig Ganzak going to be starting third. Fourth place, Sean Boundy. Fifth, Justin Levine. Sixth, Brad Thacker. Seventh, Nathan Meyer. Eighth, James Harris. Ninth, Brandon Ball. And 10th, William Mann Jr. Of course, you can finish the rest of the field there, Brayton.
That Tyler Meeks is going to be running off 11th there on the inside of John Lucido. Mark Math and George E. Young going to be 13th and 14th. Young being the last truck to take a time. And James South currently third in points. Didn't take a time tonight. Going to be running off 15th on the inside of Jason Taylor, running off 16th.
Now, looking at this starting grid, do you think qualifying position or track position is going to be very important at this racetrack?
I definitely think it's going to be a huge part in keeping your truck clean in one piece. Obviously, for someone like Keegan, you obviously you know they're fast, 3-4 hundredths quicker than Andrew Hale there for the pole. But you want to be able to get up front, you want to get up by the wall, you want to get away from everyone. You don't want to be in the middle of the pack. Like I mentioned, it's kind of multi-groove, but everyone's going to kind of lean towards the top of the racetrack. You're going to see everyone above the middle or seam. There's a seam about the middle to the lower part of the racetrack where the banking really kicks in. It's not a typical track where the banking starts at the apron. It starts about halfway up the track. So you're going to see everyone up there really fighting for that real estate. And if you can be in front of that and hopefully avoid the wreck, because you're a mile and a half in front of it, ideally that's a place to be for someone like Keegan. But you got to get up on that top line first.
100%. I definitely agree. Of course, my limited experience with this racetrack, I've called a lot of races for this race track, but I've never really driven it very much. But from what I've seen, it has been middle to top groove dominant. That is for sure. So a lot of these guys probably going to be trying to get as high up on the wall as they possibly can, and you're not going to want, I don't believe, a driver to be able to stick his nose above you. I think that's going to be the sign that you're probably going to get past here. But track position, when you have an accident, I think it's going to be very difficult to miss these accidents. Pace car lights are off. We're getting ready to go green for the first time. Of course, Keegan Sabilo going to be in control of the race. Four sets of tires, 3 actually down in the pits. These guys are going to have to play with. We'll see how, of course, that plays into the rest of this race. 150 laps, all set to get started here in just a moment. And we'll see who's going to be able to come out of this race with all the points. Next week, I'm going to have the All-Star race at, I do believe, Twin Ring Moti Guy at the Oval. And there goes pace car down pit road. Here we go. Keegan Sobilo going to be going into the restart zone, and the green flag is out for the first time. And what a start for Andrew Hale. Really able to just light up the gas pedal. But let's see if Sobilo can get clear. He goes up to try to see if he can clear Andrew Hale. Oh, and there we go. Justin Levine sideways in front of the field. Green flag has just, yellow flag has just came out, as we didn't even complete one lap. I don't think Levine had too much damage. I don't think he hit the inside wall. We're going to take a look back at this incident to see exactly what happened. You see Levine trying to drive underneath Janzak, not quite able to get there, and just gets loose off of turn 2. He spun himself essentially out. Luckily, he didn't hit the inside wall. What is your take on this crash there, Brayton?
We only had a couple pace laps there. Not a whole lot of time to get heat in your tires, and these drivers really sent it kind of hard. He was a little 3 wide going into turn 1 there on the inside of Sean Bounty and Craig Janzak. Janzak, we're gonna go with it. Janzak. And I think he just kind of got on the gas a little too early. He was running the bottom. There's not a whole lot of grip like we talked about earlier. Not a whole lot of banking on the corner exit, and it's kind of lost it. Little contact with left front wall. I think he's gonna be all right. The real winner here, I think, is gonna be Keegan. He didn't have the greatest start. Actually lost the lead for almost a second or two going through 1 and 2. It's going to end up the leader with a time. Like, he only had about a quarter of a truck in front of Andrew Hale, and Andrew had that high side going into turn 3 there. So I think Andrew, had that gone green for 10 more seconds, would have probably been your leader or been the leading car. So Keegan really getting lucky early on in this run.
No, I totally agree. I think he got incredibly lucky. I think Andrew Hale was getting ready to make that pass happen. He had the dominant line of that top side. So I suspect that Keegan is going to definitely try to do a little bit better to catch these guys off guard a little bit better than he did. Definitely love the paint scheme there on Andrew Hale's machine. Save the tatas. Of course, it is October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So definitely glad to see that for sure. It's good to be aware of that. And, of course, for females, even men get it. It's a lot rarer to see that. But definitely would like to say, women, go get your tatas checked. I do want to give a shout-out, of course, to our title sponsor here for the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. That, of course, is the Champion Power Equipment. Looking for reliable and high-performance power equipment to help you tackle any job? Look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Whether you need a portable generator, pressure washer, or any other power tool, Champion has you covered with top-of-the-line products at affordable prices. And as the proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, they're excited to bring you even more power and equipment or performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. And here we go. Pace car lights are out, and what a smart call for Keegan Sobilo. Starting up on the top, what do you think?
I think that's definitely gonna be what it has to do. He didn't quite have that option for the initial start here, but the restart's gonna get that choice, and hopefully he's able to really drive it deep into turn one and pull away from Andrew Hale and not have to worry about getting past there. Then you have Craig Janzak, won this race in the 2022 Winter IRP race, got second here last in, time in the spring. Gonna be really interested to see his top three duke out as we get ready to go green here.
And here we go. Green flag is getting ready to wave as the pace car has dipped down pit road. And Keegan Sabilo set to get us underway once again as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out for the second time. What a start for Sean Boundy. Really up through the gears there quickly and possibly could maybe take second away from Andrew Hale. Hale, though, getting a good run out of turn two. Not quite able to get clear. A little bit of a wiggle there for the Ford machine, but sends it into 3 and 4.
Sean Bounty is trying to everything he can to try and hang on to the second spot on the outside as the number 4 machine of Andrew Hale is going to get a little bit loosey-goosey there on the inside. Like we mentioned, you can't really get on it too early on these cold tires, and that's going to cost him second and even a third spot to Craig Janzak and Sean Bounty.
Yeah, Craig Ganzak now diving it in on to 34. Does he make it stick? The slide job is real with the 3 machine. What a move. Can he get this pass completed? I think it's highly doubtful, but you got to love and admire the set of cojones on the 3 machine.
Yeah, like I just said, he won this race back in the winter. He got second here to Robert Kennedy in the spring, and he's really trying to make that bottom work. Wasn't able to quite get it. You saw him kind of look, pretty speedy there for a second. Had a nose going into turn one. He could have slid up and made a contact if he wanted to with Sean Bounty and definitely taken the position that way. But that's definitely not ideal. Only 9 laps into this race, so Craig had a decent showing there for about a lap and a half on the bottom. Just wasn't able to get the job done on Craig Bundy for second.
Yeah,
Sean Bundy, sorry.
Sean Boundy, yep, definitely that second place position. I think Craig might have paid a little bit of a price as well when it came to overheating the tires. I know first 5 laps are very important when it comes to tire life, so we'll have to see if he may be overheated, overextended. I've been very impressed, though, with Andrew Hale, turning some of the fastest laps of the race thus far, 22.613 last time by. He is all over the back end of Craig Janzak, but here comes Janzak back again to the inside, tries to get underneath Moundy, not quite able to get there.
And Craig actually in the wall a little bit. I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad. It's not number 4 of Andrew Hale. Try and make the move back on the inside. Try and get back into this top 3. He was running really solid until he got a little bit loose, battling with Sean up there. So try and maybe save his tires, not really looking to take that 3rd spot anymore. And Justin Levine, we talked about, just had that spin on lap 1, currently back up to 13th after restarting in the 16th spot there. So Levine trying to make up some lost time as he's looking on the inside now of number 15 of Taylor. So it's going to be interesting to see Levine. He qualified 5th. Can he make his way back into the top 5 here?
I think this is really showing how important track position is. Justin Levine is struggling to make these passes stick. Of course, he is going to be mired in traffic. He's going to have to hope and pray that he's going to be able to inch his way closer and closer to the front. It's not going to be easy. I mean, every pass he's going to have to make is going to be a huge uphill battle for that driver. Of course, let's take a look at the top 10 right now. Keegan Sabilo up in first right now on lap 13. Sean Boundy sits in the second place position. Craig Janzak sits third. 4th place, Andrew Hale. 5th place, Nathan Meyer. 6th, Brian Thacker. 7th, James Harris. 8th, John Lucido, our points leader. Of course, further back in the pack, he's going to need to move up to remain points leader. 9th, Mark Math. And 10th, William Mann Jr. As, of course, we see Justin Levine did make the pass on Taylor now, has moved up into 12th, as we see as well. Almost a 3-wide battle going on. Oh, we got someone sideways, Mark Math. Let's see,
yeah.
Caution flag does fly, and Matt barely able to avoid hitting the wall here. He did touch it a little bit, but a very low-speed collision.
That started all the way back in turn 3. The number 55 of Harris got a little bit loose going into the corner, slid up into the wall in front of Lucido and Mark Math there, and with man on Math's inside, nowhere to go, coming out of the corner, got pinched in the middle, and like we talked about, it's kind of crucial not get on it too early. I think the tires were warmed up, he just didn't have the ideal line there, and really kind of going to cost him. He was running inside the top 10 when that caution came out. Luckily,
Wow.
I think it's not going to hurt him too bad. I don't think he really touched anything other than some slight contact maybe into the wall, but Math, as we just talked about with Levine, track position is hard to come by. It's a scarcity. So it's going to be interesting for Mark Math trying to make his way up through the front now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, looking back at it, and we can see this clearly was just the dominoes fell a certain way. Math was trying to avoid getting into Harris, and unfortunately, just overextended. I think the grip of those tires, and he, of course, I do believe. I think I see the 55 coming down pit road. So some guys electing to come down and get some fresh set of tires. You see Brandon Ball as well. Now, I think now's a great time. Let's go ahead and take a quick step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back with some more racing here at IRP.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible.
Welcome back to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. My name is Brian Britt. Of course, I have Brayton Laster down behind or in the commentating booth with me. Pace car has dipped down pit road. Green flag is getting ready to fly once again as we get ready to start lap number 20. And there it is. Green flag is back out in the air. Keegan Sabilo with a really great start. Started on the bottom that time. Big sin from Craig Yanzak as he, of course, gets a big run out of turn 2. A little bit sideways. And he looks like he maintains and was able to keep it straight there as he is still trying to hound the 34 of Bounty here. He is looking all the way on the bottom. I'm just surprised he's able to drive it down there and keep it straight.
Yeah, no one really came down and got too many changes down pit road. It's now Yanzak and Hale side by side off of 2. This ain't going to end pretty, I think, for anyone. Hale almost washed up into the wall there. Yanzak racing it now, trying to make this bottom work. Not a whole lot of room down there to find speed. Now Hale also trying to look with the crossover move on the bottom. Everyone's kind of getting a little flirty with that bottom, maybe try and make it work, as Hale's going to get real loose through 1, kind of stack up the rest of this field behind him.
Oh, and look at John Lucido. We talked about him. He was back in 8th not that long ago. He's up into top 5 now and challenging for the 4th place position. Of course, he is the points leader at the moment. Can he continue this upward momentum as he gets a little bit loose off of turn 4? Still side by side for 4th place.
Now, Lucido looking for his first win of the season. We just talked about their points battle. John Lucido, James Harris, and James South. Neither one of them have won with their being their top 3 points. As him and Hale are starting to get real aggressive towards each other. This might end in a wreck for the 2, but with it being this early on, I don't think it will. Lucido almost washing up into the left rear quarter panel of Hale. Going to try to file back in the top and file Hale to the front here, hopefully.
And it is just so hard to pass at this racetrack. You have to really hope that the guy ahead of you makes a mistake. If you see Yanzak get into the wall a little bit, this is, of course, going to make Andrew Hill in the 4 machine kind of lick his chops, definitely salivating, thinking maybe he can get up into the top 3. Not quite able to get there as Yanzak still holds on to the position. He's also still a little bit further back. Justin Levine has made his way up into the top 10, up into 9th right now, and is quickly driving through the field.
Now, Levine trying to make up some lost ground. We talked about he was at lap 1 spin after 25 laps. He's only made up 6 spots, and a couple of those were due to a wreck on lap 14 with Harris and Math there. So we talked about earlier, Levine in track position are not really going well. He now looks to solidify his 8th place run. As they're going to be 2 wide behind him with Mann and Tyler Meeks. Mann, we just talked about too, was in a lap 14 incident with Math. Not a whole lot of damage. He's barely got in the left rear of Math. But William Mann started in the 10th spot, now running inside the top 10. But Lucido, we talked about, their points leader, started 12th, currently up 7 spots, all the way inside the top 5.
Yeah, definitely a great run so far for Lucido. We were just kind of looking at, of course, Craig Ganzak. Ganzak is struggling. Something is wrong with that truck. I think he might have hurt those tires, and he is definitely trying to see if he can cool them back down, but I don't think he's getting a lot of chances to do so, as, of course, he has now lost that 3rd place position and possibly could lose 4th as well, as Lucido has been all over him, as well as Nathan Meyer not far back, as we see Justin Levine has made his way up to 7th. He is driving through the field right now. It's not that far back from this battle for the top 5.
Then no one really came down and took tires there, except for Harris in 11th and Brandon Ball in 14th. I think, like you mentioned, only 3 sets of tires in the pits for these drivers. I think it'd be way too early for someone to come down and take a set. You have to make them last. You look at about 150 laps in the race divided by 3 sets. You're looking at 50 laps on a set, with it only being lap 29. I don't think it's way too early for anyone to come down and get tires. And if someone like Janzak, use this as a learning opportunity, and hopefully when we put a new set on 10, 20, 30 laps and we get the next caution, try to take better care of them and be there later in the run.
I'll tell you who's been really, really, really good on the long run. It's been Andrew Hale in that 4 machine. 22.897 last time by. He was the fastest on the racetrack by a pretty good wide margin, and by a 10th at least. He is hounding Sean Boundy right now all over the rear end of the 34. I think Andrew Hale might have something for Keegan Sabilo if he can get by the 34.
Now look at the times this last time by. Hound still a 10th quicker than Sabilo, but Boundy was actually the 2nd quickest. And Craig, we just talked about him. Craig Janzak, the quickest by almost 2 tenths at last time by. So Craig may be finding some life back in his tires, overheated them, got a chance to cool them down. We're only a couple laps into this run. Hopefully we see people start a single file, but we just talked about Andrew Hale there, making up some time on Sabilo. It's going to be interesting to see if they're able to catch him. And if this run goes green for any longer, who really shows their true long run speed.
100%. Of course, we see Justin Levine starting to hound Nathan Meyer here for that 6th place position. He's all over the rear end, as we see, of course, Hale trying to go side by side with Boundy, but looking at, Meyer into the wall a little bit as well. Further back, we saw Brad Thacker hit the wall. So a lot of guys are starting to struggle with the handling of their race cars at the moment.
We talk about track position. Mark Math running inside that top 10 before that 14 caution, all the way back in 16th, currently running dead last. So he made up quite a bit of ground in that first run, and like we talked about, the story has been track position, as we're going to see some cars making contact here.
I think Justin Levine, he just got pretty loose there trying to pass Nathan Meyer. He falls back to try to regroup and possibly get back up there to the 6th machine. We also saw some battling there between Brad Thacker and Tyler Meeks. Let's take a look. Back at a replay, you see Justin Levine side by side with the 24 here, trying to make something happen. It's big sin there in 3 and 4, and it's going to happen, I think, on the exit of the corner. Right here, he gets loose. No contact between the 2 drivers, but it definitely shows that he, of course, I think overextended just a little bit. He's going to be reshuffling the deck. He's pretty much engaged with the 24, as we see as well James Harris and Brad Thacker battling for the 9th place position.
It's really easy to get out of shape here, as you see the Elias drivers are really starting to struggle both on corner entry and through the middle of the corner. We just talked about Levine there. Levine struggle on corner exit a little bit, but we really watch these trucks start to struggle, get that speed off the corner. They're having trouble arching it down, and Boundy's almost kind of washed up into the wall a couple times. He's kind of sitting in there as he's on heavy defense, trying to protect that 2nd place spot from Andrew Hale, who's literally in this back bumper, and Craig Janzak try and make a move, hoping on these 2 drivers and steal a 2nd.
Yeah, and I think the battle, I think it's a worthy thing to do to try to push someone into the corner faster than they want to go, and I think that's exactly what Hale has been trying to do, and he's also being pressured by Craig Janzak. And look at the send from Janzak sideways. He, of course, is going to somehow save that. Wow. Craig Janzak with a huge send. I mean, he looked like he was driving on a dirt track in that 3 machine.
Lucido, now they're points, you're also trying to capitalize on Yanzak extending it hard there. Not really treating his rear tire as a whole well, as much as I would like as a driver, especially knowing you don't have a guaranteed caution really anytime soon. Hale is going to solidify a second place run here to make up 2 or 3 tenths, if not more, on Bounty in just a couple laps. But now for Yanzak, you had a good run going. You see he's really loose, really burn up those rears, especially at that spin. Now Lucido and Levine try and make up some lost ground. I don't think Yanzak really has a whole lot of defensive cards in his handbook.
No, not right now. Of course, Levine definitely giving some bumps there to the back end of the 73. So definitely things are getting a little bit more spicy right here on the edge of the top 5. So we're watching. I love this hood camera, or should I say roof camera here. Levine patiently waiting to try to get by. Oh, a little bit of contact there with the outside wall out of turn number 4. But I think contact with the wall is fairly common at this racetrack. You see all those black marks on the on the wall there. Seems like a lot of people do that, as we see Craig Ganzak still trying to hold on to that 4th place position. He is just struggling right now, probably in desperate need of some new tires.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we got a caution right about now to see drivers come down and go ahead and throw their first sticker set on, at least for most of these drivers. Justin Levine there, currently 4th in points. He won Texas a couple weeks ago, trying to hopefully have another run. We talked about him early on. He was in that lap 1 spin by himself, slowly making his way back in the top 5 as he sees John Lucido and Craig Yanzak across his nose. Yanzak really struggling, we were talking about. I think he's really burnt those rears up. He sent it one too many times, got a little too loose, and now they're kind of slowly catching the number 34 of Sean Bounty. Going to be interesting to see. We talked about those long runs. No one really expected him to come. We've averaged 7.5 cautions this year already, with Bristol being the most. You expect this to be a Bristol-like track, and we've only had 2 so far. So going to be interesting to possibly see who really shows their long run capabilities.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a position that a lot of these drivers have not been put in at these short tracks. They really usually get a lot of cautions that kind of allow them to cool the tires back down. They really haven't had a whole lot of chances for that in this race so far. But could we see possibly a caution based on someone getting turned? And could we see it here in just a moment? You see Justin Levine is all over Lucido, as well as Bounty now starting to get pressured by Yanzak. Bounty is starting to really struggle. 23.5 last time by. He is a second off of his fastest lap. So definitely a lot of guys are starting to struggle a lot here. And Sabilo in the clean air, I don't know if that matters at this racetrack, is driving away. 1.8, 1.9, almost 2 seconds is his lead.
Now, Sabilo was almost the quickest truck that last time by 2, 3, if not 4 tenths on most of the field. So Sabilo really driving away, making a name for himself tonight, looking for his first win of the season. And Andrew Hale, nothing he can really do. He's got 2 seconds between him and first, and then him and third. So it's kind of in its own little zip code here, slowly cruising in the second spot. As Justin Levine, kind of on the defense and offensive here in 6th, try and make a pass on John Lucido, making some points on him. And also he has the 24 and Nathan Meyer coming up right behind him. As also right in front of them, Craig Yanzak going to send it again. Didn't really learn his lesson, trying to make it stick on Sean Bounty. As they're going to be side by side, coming off a turn 4 here. Craig trying to make some magic happen. I just don't think he's going to be able to seal the deal.
Yeah, he is definitely the only one we've seen really make sense like that. And it looks like it works that time, as he is able to get clear of Bounty. But of course, at what cost? I mean, it's definitely going to hurt his tires. But of course, Bounty, I think, has just been struggling a lot. I mean, last time by, he was one of the slowest guys. Definitely was one of the slowest guys. Of course, really slow, though, was Andrew Hale. I think Hale might be starting to struggle as well. As here comes Lucido. He's going to try to big send here on the 34. Bounty almost into the wall. He almost touched the wall.
I think Bounty's really used up his stuff here. Like you mentioned, not a lot of these guys are used to having these long runs, especially on the short tracks, just the 10, 15 lap runs and getting a break, getting a chance to cool down their tires. And they really haven't even had a chance to do that. We've had about 35 laps on these tires since a caution, and then 50 hard laps in total as for most of these guys. Levine trying to make a move on the inside of Bounty. I think we're just going to see Bounty slowly start to fall here, almost a whole second slower than Sabilo. So Bounty really on the struggle bus here, not really getting a chance to cool down his tires, and I think you're going to see a lot of people start to fly by him.
That's unfortunate. Of course, Bounty usually known for being really good on the long run, so it just doesn't seem like this track is really benefiting him very much. Just a very difficult racetrack. Of course, Keegan Sabili, kind of turning our attention back to him. Thinking about this, you have real life experience on this track in specifically. Of course, how does that translate to the sim?
Yeah, so with someone with IRP, very very unique track. Most of the time to go to a short track, they expect to run the bottom and be quick there. To go to a track like IRP where the banking doesn't really start till you're 3/4 of the way up the racetrack, it's kind of hard to get used to because it's not natural. So taking a track, especially like this, it really turning laps on the sim, and when I made my Arkham Menard series start here this year, I was able to almost effortlessly transition from sim into the real life. I didn't have a whole lot of laps going around trying to figure the track out and struggle as I would normally would like a track like say Salem or the coin that's not on the sim. So having the opportunity to really go and practice hours, if not turn thousands of laps beforehand, makes that transition a lot smoother. And I don't want to dog the Arca series, but you got a lot of older people in there. It's kind of having fun. You have a lot of young up and coming talent. And typically, a lot of the older generation's drivers don't take advantage of modern technology such as iRacing to get that seat time before they even get to the track. So I think it's something that really helps elevate me and makes me one the middle towards the bottom of the pack where I typically relegate to is it's so tight in Arca, you have to have every advantage you can. Sabino got a little bit of contact with the wall off of turn 2 that last time by. I think he might be starting to struggle with some front end grip. He's not slowing down a whole lot, but he's definitely not too scared to get up by the wall and try to find every second and every tenth that he can.
We're taking a look on board here. I love this onboard camera. You can kind of see exactly what he's doing with his wheel, and you can tell it's not stationary at all. He's definitely having to counter steer quite a bit off these corners. Does this look anything like what you would have done in real life at this racetrack, having to counter steer off the corner?
Oh, definitely. I remember that was one of the biggest learning curves was holy cow, this thing is loose, especially off the exit, and then it was tight everywhere else a little bit. So definitely being able to have that practice and learn a track like this beforehand makes that transition like I talked about real easy. Running up by the wall too, something you're typically not used to at a track this size. Under a mile here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, you don't really expect to run up by the wall being the quickest way, but you almost form their own little Darlington stripe, if I can say, as we're gonna watch the number 4 pink of Andrew Hale really up and out wall, almost touching it there. So Andrew Hale trying to make up some lost time. We talked about fuel mileage not being a problem. We might get there.
I think you're right. No, I think that's a very interesting point. As we see the battle kind of still heating up there for that 4th place position. Justin Levine trying to work his way up into 4th here, all over the back end of Lucido. And here he goes, Big Send. Can he make it happen? Of course, he is opening the door possibly for Nathan Meyer to take his position back. I love what you're talking about the fuel might actually be a concern here. Talking about 125 laps being what we kind of guess is the fuel window. Well, our last caution was, I do believe, a little bit earlier than that window. So these guys might not be able to make it. And usually green flag stops at a track like this do not happen. What if we see those? I mean, what do we see? I mean, you talked about pit road being a very big deal at this racetrack. I mean, you see, of course, it's got a access entry road, if you will. It's going to be hard to navigate that, I do believe.
The pit road here, you kind of have to enter all the way off of turn 3, and it's a very tight corner, no banking. It's kind of through the grass. You got to mow a little bit of it, and it's not ideal to make a green flag pit stop. I wouldn't be surprised if you lost 2, maybe even 3 laps on pit road, just depending who's out leading. You might see someone like James D. Harris and Brandon Ball that pitted only 45 laps ago for that lap 14 caution. You might see someone like those guys that are running 7th and 10th, and they haven't been the quickest truck all night, but they might be able to edge one out on fuel mileage like we talked about before the race. About 120 to 125 laps for my calculations. They're not 100% correct. If I had to guess, there's always a little bit of wiggle room as we're going to slow down, longer run to go and not use as much fuel. So you might see some people start to slow down their pace just trying to make it on fuel. You might see someone like Harris and Ball stay out a lot longer. Now, 2, they stay out and everyone comes in the pits, 10, 14, 15 laps for them. Then obviously they're going to be slower than my grandma on her walker. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of do these drivers elect to come down, do a green flag pit stop, or just kind of hope and see who runs out and fumes and stops on the track first.
Oh!
As Levine going to get real tight up there in the wall. I'm sorry, not Levine, but Lucido is going to get stuffed by Levine and going to lose 3-4 spots here. As now the 55 of Harris, we just talked about one of the drivers better on fuel, try and make some moves.
We're going to take a look back at the replay here. Of course, this is some contact between Justin Levine and John Lucido. You can see Levine was trying to maybe send it on the 73. Almost had gotten clear, but wasn't quite able to do it. I'm surprised that Levine got out of that as good as he did. That could have easily been more of a catastrophe for the 33, but unfortunately, the 73 is the one that really paid the most of the price there.
Yeah, that was definitely
as well. The 24. Go ahead.
That was definitely not ideal for anyone involved. We talk about how late and more laps we're getting on these cars, these tires, and some too. The more and more fuel to burn off, the more front grip you'll get, and the less rear grip you're going to have. So it's going to be interesting to see people start to kind of lose that rear grip. Going to be interesting as these fuel tanks are starting to possibly look a little bit on E in the next 40 50 laps.
And one thing we're seeing right here, of course, Keegan Sabilo has been driving and eating the tail now, the snake in the tail, or the tail of the snake, I should say. I can't talk, apparently. He is now putting 2 drivers lamp down. That is William Mann Jr. and Mark Math. Next driver is going to be George Young, and he's not that far ahead of him. So Sabilo, he's got a 6-second lead on Andrew Hale. I think this could end up to where Keegan Sabilo laps half this field if it stays green.
I definitely won't be surprised. Only the top 3 drivers are even within 10 seconds of Sabilo. And that's Andrew Hale in second and Craig Yanzak in third. Justin Levine would be the next car, currently in fourth, who's 11 to 12 seconds behind him. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this one plays out if it does go green. And you got to start thinking about, too, most of this field is single-filed for the majority of them. You have Nathan Meyer and James Harris currently side by side a little bit through 3 and 4 going into 1. So you don't really expect a whole lot of cautions to come out now that we've really single filed and everyone's kind of running their own pace. Going to be interesting to see if we even do get a caution here.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, we're talking about there's that battle that's been going on there between James Harris and, of course, Nathan Meyer. Harris last time by was about 0.3 faster than Meyer. So Harris seems like he's done a fantastic job of saving the tires. We also have a battle that is starting to happen here for the second place position is James South. I think something going on with South. He gets just dropped down the field. Coming to pit road. Green flag pit stop here for the 21.
So hopefully I don't see any damage on his truck. So I think this nice might be a green flag run. These drivers are about the second half slower than sticker tires. So only got to run 20 or so laps to make up a lap. But going to be interesting to see how many laps he truly goes down here. If he is actually out for the count, as we see him start to roll back onto the track, he's going to be at least 2 laps down, looking at going to third. Currently third in points, still looking for his first win. But I don't know if he had a mechanical issue or just came down and get some fresh rubber and try to find some grip as James South try and gamble a little bit here in Indianapolis.
And caution flag is out. Brandon Ball with some issues, it looks like. He, of course, gets loose on the front stretch. And this is going to save a lot of drivers. Not going to save James South. If he had waited just a couple laps, he, of course, would have been just fine. Unfortunately, we see, I think, Tyler Meeks may have been involved. Oh, yeah, it looks like I think Ball was trying to avoid getting into Bounty. And unfortunately, Meeks just did not have as much patience as Ball did. And, of course, spun him right around. Not a lot of damage there on Ball. I think he is going to go a lap down, though. And it looks like Craig Ganzak coming to pit road. We got a lot of drivers that are coming to pit road. I would assume everybody that's on the lead lap would probably pit here.
James South might get lucky, might get a natural wave around by staying out. Like you said, imagine everyone's going to come down and pit, at least get fuel. That's going to go ahead and take that fuel question out of the equation. But Bounty, we talked about for that last caution. He was running second for a lot of this race and just kind of fell back and was down there all the way in 8th, looking outside, be outside the top 10 as Sabilo is going to easily win this race off of pit road.
And just while we have a moment, I wanted to give a shout out to, of course, one of the other sponsors here for the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, Green Mountain Grills. We all love barbecue. Green Mountain pellet grills are top of the line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. GMG also offers the highest quality dry rubs, sauces, and pellets, but not for the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com for online purchases, recipes, and much more. And while we got another moment, because racing has been so exciting, I wanted to get another one in. Blackstone Management Partners. Blackstone Management Partners guarantees an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services required to keep your dynamic brands thriving. And of course, they stay one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communications, talent management, and event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state of the art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com today. And definitely going to change things up here with the yellow flag. We were kind of didn't think a yellow flag was going to come because of how spread out things have gotten, but this, of course, has breathed new life into some of these guys' races. I mean, we saw Sabilo had 6 seconds over the field or over second place. What does this do? I mean, I think this could possibly, maybe somebody has learned something that can give Sabilo a run for his money now.
It's going to be interesting. We talked about Yanzak was real strong early on, and then kind of struggled in the middle of that run, fell all the way back to 5th and 6th, and kind of gained some new life there with some late race speed or late run speed, and was able to get inside the top 3. James Harris hasn't really been a contender all night, running inside the top 10 on and off, but he was in that lap 14 wall. Remember, he kind of got into the wall a little bit, and then Math spun off of him, but he's made his way solidly into the top 5 now. And then Tyler Meeks, just in that caution, up 6 spots to move into the top 5. So a lot of heavy movers as the lights are off on the pace car, and James South, like we talked about too, stayed out there and did only go 1 lap, or gained a lap back, so he's now only 1 lap down.
And of course, we have crossed the halfway point. We're getting ready to start lap 78 here as we wait for the green flag to come out. And a lot of big movers, like you said, as the pace car is going to be dipping down pit road as we file through 3 and 4. Egan Sobilo getting ready to get going here as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone. Of course, Sabilo chose the top side this time around. And here we go into the restart zone. Green flag is back out again, and a good start there for Sabilo. But Craig Yanzak has been the master of the big send here tonight. Does he pull a big send possibly in 3 and 4? As for now, Sabilo is clear for the lead.
And Yanzak is no stranger to the bottom. We've seen it used most out of probably any driver. As we're going to have a quick yell here.
And yellow flag has come right back out here on the racetrack. Not sure exactly what happened. Looks like Mark Math has gone around. So this could be a chance for someone to get a lap back. And looks like a 3 wide scenario that led to him spinning out. Of course, looked like they had gotten through the 3 wide, and him and I do believe William Mann Jr. got into one another. You see Brandon Ball able to avoid it, and most of the other drivers able to avoid the contact. That could have been a whole lot worse than it was. But Mark Math involved in his second incident here tonight as we take another look back at it. Looking through the cockpit camera. Go ahead.
This incident of hard racing, I feel like they're trying to make up as much ground, especially in these restarts. We saw how strong out that run got last time. Try and make up some ground. And it didn't really leave Mark Math, or didn't leave Mann Jr. a whole lot of room up there on top. And Mann could have either stuffed himself in the wall or stuffed Math into the wall. And obviously, if you're a race car driver, you're not going to put yourself in there. So Mark Math not having a great night, like we talked about. Second caution already for him. He was involved in that lap 14 wreck. And now he's really damaging the front and the back end of this racetrack.
Numbers. Of course, Brandon Ball, who had a caution come out earlier, who brought out the caution, went a lap down. He gets the lap back on this caution. So the 17, of course, back in contention on the lead lap here. As Keegan Sabilo is going to have to do yet another restart here against Craig Yanzak. Eventually, I think Yanzak's going to get wise to when he's going. Very hard to keep someone guessing when you continue to have to, have restarts with them. So what do you do if you're in Keegan Sabilo's shoes to try to keep Yanzak guessing on these restarts?
You know, to have a lot of good long run pace, you know, to have a lot of good short run pace. I think Sabilo has led every single lap tonight, and Yanzak, kind of the master of the bottom, using it more than any other driver out here so far. So if Sabilo, you've made a mental note that, but you haven't really raced with anyone tonight. You've been in your own zip code. You might as well have been on the drag strip next door. Sabilo has with the way he's been, 5, 6, 7 seconds in front of the entire field. So hasn't really had to deal with dirty air, racing in traffic, or anyone side by side with him. So if Janczak can get on the inside, gonna be interesting to see as we're gonna go lights off here. So Janczak might stand on the bottom on a restart, but you don't really know if it's Sabilo. Janczak's been in traffic this entire race for the most part. Sabilo has not. So if it does come to a racing situation, I feel like Sabilo might actually be under experienced when it comes to that tonight.
Yeah, of course, having as well driven in real life. Of course, I think his, he's definitely got some willpower. I think he won't hopefully fold to pressure. We'll have to see though. Craig Ganzak is the perfect driver to apply pressure. That is for sure. He is always definitely applying pressure. Here we go though. Green flag getting ready to fly once again here. As of course we have a little bit of a quickie yellow. Keegan Sabilo goes and catches, of course, Janczak off guard. Janczak almost even has some contact there with Nathan Meyer. Meyer went a little bit before him as James Harris tries to get into the fray. He's got the top side. Oh, he turns to 24. And we're going to see another yellow flag fly as the 24 of Nathan Meyer almost spins in front of the traffic there. That could have been a lot worse.
That Brandon Ball, who just got his lap back, actually going to be involved in that a little bit too. The entire field checked up, and there was actually a couple of wrecks there as everyone kind of went spinning to avoid the 24 of Meyer. Brandon Ball with I don't really know what he was trying to do. I guess he was trying to mow that infield grass and just kind of see himself spinning down pit road, as we're going to go see here in a second. But that really got started off of turn 2. The number 55 of Harris. Nowhere to really go. He could have kind of washed up a little bit, but you had the 24 Meyer really send it in there, and nothing he could have really any driver done. They're coming off a restart, racing high position. Levine kind of gave him a little bit of help to the back bumper of Harris there, but I feel like that's a case of hard racing.
So yeah, I think that's exactly. I'm glad you saw that. I think Levine did kind of possibly touch the back of the 55 a little bit, and that might have unsettled the race truck and sent him down into the 24. So that's unfortunate to see that. The 24 lost a lot of track position, was up in the top 5. So that's definitely unfortunate. We're going to take one more look back at it here.
Ducito actually got a big part of that. I went to go check up for the spinning Meyer and got some help from Mark Math as we're going to see them come to the frame there. Now Ducito got a huge part of that. Got turned into the number 4 of Hale, then in the back bumper, and then here comes the 48 of George Young sliding into him. So a lot of like second, third hand wrecking going on here.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It just, they all could have had this missed, and unfortunately they were just trying to avoid it, and guys got impatient. Look at that. Oh,
Tyler Meeks
George Young.
Tyler Meeks also got a little bit of that second hand. Was past the wreck, and the number 15 of Taylor just didn't see him checking up and sent them all flying. It kind of really started. One guy checked up to avoid Meyer, and I guess half the field didn't get the memo there, and just went ahead and says, I'm going to not hit the brake. I'm going to use the car in front of me.
Yeah, definitely just a crazy accident for sure that involved a lot of drivers, and we've seen a lot of shakeups, I'd say, in the running order here. As we see, I think the pace car lights are going out once again. Yep, they are, and we're going to have one to go. So a big shakeup in the running order here tonight. We saw, of course, Nathan Meyer, the 24, who was up in the top 5, is now falling outside of the top 10, I do believe, as well as some other drivers. John Lucido, who was up in the top 5, now outside of the top 10 as well. So a lot of drivers are going to have to try to fight their way back up through this field. Pace car is getting ready to dip down pit road, as I do believe we're going to have 63 laps remaining here at IRP. And Keegan Sabilo, field in hand, of course, chose the top once again here. Craig Ganzak with another stab at it. Green flag back out in the air. Sabilo once again doing a fantastic job on the restart.
Ganzak trying to send up on the inside, doesn't quite make the move stick. Now trying to slide back into that top, trying to defend that second place. As we're going to go ahead and bring it out one more time. I believe it's Brandon Ball. Third caution in a row he's been involved in for him. He's going for a strike. Not 100% sure what happened there, but I think he says, I'm going to go ahead and tear up the left front, the right front, and every other corner in between. It just seems he got a little bit loose.
Yeah, I think he just got loose. He was trying to get underneath Nathan Meyer. Unfortunately, got loose, was able to stop just in time to be able to avoid the inside wall. That truck has definitely seen better days, and just sad to see. But I think now's a great time. While we got another caution, we'll take another brief step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back with some more racing here on at IRP.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series as we get ready for the green flag to fly once again here at IRP. Keegan Sabilo once again going to be the master of the restart. We'll see if he's able to nail this one as well. As you can see, no, not able to get as good of a start. Craig Ganzak predicts when he's going to go, and he takes the lead. Sabilo just dropped the ball, and that could be the change of the race here. As you see Justin Levine trying to work to possibly even get the lead as well. This has been a huge shakeup of a restart.
That was exactly what Sabilo did not want to happen. Restart after restart, and now this is already going to hurt him as we have a caution in the back. And that's going to be number 15 of Taylor and others involved.
And it looks like Jason Taylor involved in this crash here. Let's see exactly what happened. It looks like Andrew Hale possibly gets into the back of the 15, sends him around. And George Young, once again, involved in a crash as well. Gets a little bit of the secondary contact after the fact. And wow, what a shakeup for the race. Caution flag got to come out. And this could change everything. Now Craig Ganzak going to be in control. As we take another look back at this, Andrew Hale sends it into the corner. Jason Taylor not going as quick on the entry, and unfortunately gets tagged in the rear, and unfortunately 48 nowhere to go.
Yeah, George Young has kind of read that same story twice. They're right in front of him and nowhere for go for him to inside the top line there going into turn 3. So Young, I don't think it's gonna be too bad. Taylor, I don't think it's gonna be too bad. Everyone should come out pretty unscathed. The one person that's really gonna like this is going to be the number 21 at James South, running inside the top 10 most of the night. Pitted on lap 69 under green and was the real loser for that lap 71 caution with Meeks and Ball. Went 2 laps down, and now after 4 more cautions later, he has finally gotten his laps back. So James South finally back on the lap. Might see him start to make his way into the top 10. Currently 3rd in points, still looking for his first win of the season, but hopefully he can make some magic happen here tonight.
And speaking of magic, the magic of that restart was Craig Ganzak able to really just predict Keegan Sobilo and take the lead. I mean, that was not something I saw coming. I mean, Sabilo had done a fantastic job in every restart before that, but I think Yanzak has found Sabilo's number. Now, what does Sabilo do? Is he able to replicate what Yanzak did and possibly get the lead back? This is going to be a place I don't think Sabilo's been in all race long.
And we talked about that last restart. Sabilo really hasn't had to be in traffic in any sort of shape or form. He's only lapped a couple trucks for that long green flag run. So gonna be interesting if he doesn't get the jump here that Yanzak did. We talked about all race. Yanzak has the experience. He won this race 2 races ago, and then got second here in the last trip to IRP. So trying to make some ground up. Got third in Texas, but looking for his first win. It might just happen after that magical performance tonight.
Could very well be the case as we see, of course, the green flag getting ready to fly. Craig Ganzak with the field in hand for the first time here tonight. And here we go. What does Ganzak do as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone? And there he goes up to the gears, catches Sabilo sleeping. A lot like how Sabilo had caught him sleeping for the most part. What does Sabilo do? As you see side by side for third place, Levine sends it on Brad Thacker. Thacker, though, holding strong up on the top.
Yeah, Thacker's a driver we really haven't talked about tonight, thankfully for a good reason. He's been quietly running inside the top 10 and now trying to steal a third from Levine. Wasn't able to quite seal the deal, but slowly, quietly moving into the top 5. Hale, we just saw, kind of had some trouble with that last wreck. Moved the number 15 of Taylor, also got some damage in that lap 83 wreck, so he's a running back inside the top 5. We've seen him have a lot of speed. As Sabilo trying to make a move on Yanzak. Gonna be interesting to see what Sabilo does.
Yeah, he has been trying to definitely make a move here, just not quite able to get underneath him. I think Yanzak's wise to that. I mean, he's been the one that has used the bottom line most of all. So anytime he sees Sabilo try to drive underneath him, he kind of goes down there and takes that lane away. As we're coming up now to 50 laps to go. Of course, Justin Levine's going to complicate things even more. We know how good.
Back.
Looks like we got a spinner in the back. Brandon Ball once again having some issues.
I was just getting ready to talk about that. If you were looking at your caution calculator, we had Math and Ball side by side through a better part of a lap and a half there. I was going to guess it probably was coming pretty soon. And sure enough, coming out of 4 there, they're going to see it. Side by side, no help really from Math at all. Brandon Ball is stuck on the bottom, not really in the preferred line, and just spinning around. I don't think that was a problem with cold tires. These guys have been on these tires for the better part of 20 to 30 laps now. Gonna be interesting to see. Speaking of tires, Sean Bundy, we talked about earlier. Boundy. Running inside the top 3 a lot for the early stages of this race. Came down only 8 laps ago for that last caution and took tires. So he is the first car on new tires all the way back in 10th. They're going to be interesting. We see tires start to come into play. We talked about that long green flag run. They were about a second to second half slower than their faster laps. And now Boundy with 21 laps fresher tires than anyone else inside the top 10.
Well, the only bad thing about it is even though they have fresher tires, I don't know if it's going to mean too much just considering we keep having these cautions. I mean, we've only had like a couple laps here and a couple laps there. And then the caution comes out. So it allows them to kind of cool them back down. So I don't know how much that is really going to mean. We'll have to wait and see, though. I mean, as well as you got Tyler Meeks, I do believe, as well as some other drivers that have as well taken tires. I do believe John Lucido, Brandon Ball, and Jason Taylor are all actually in the process of being on pit road right now. Lucido, I do believe, fixing some damage, as well as Jason Taylor at the moment.
They've both been coming down every caution for the last 3 or 4 of them and go ahead and get some damage fixed. Nathan Meyer also came down and took some tires that last time by. So fuel, not a problem. Tire is definitely going to be interesting. We've only put 30 laps or we've only ran about 30 laps since most of these guys took tires. I don't think it's really been a hard 30 laps. And you look, not at all. Since lap 70, we've had 6 cautions for 15 to 20 laps. Only 10 hard laps here as the lights are off in the pace car. Getting ready to see another fantastic restart. Hopefully it's the last.
Yeah, we'll definitely hope so. I'd love to see another long green run like we did earlier, for sure. Keegan Sobilo, Craig Yanzak, of course, top row here. Let's see what they're able to do as Yanzak, of course, has the field in hands. He's going to be the control car here on this restart. What does Keegan Sobilo do As there it is, green flag is out. A much better start for Sabilo. Sabilo has to get out of the gas, though, I think, to avoid a black flag. He was ahead of Yanzak a little bit there. That's something he, I think, really wanted to avoid. He did not want to get a black flag. So that's going to be something he's really going to be, I think, a little bit anxious about as we see, oh, there goes Andrew Hale. He's going to go sideways in front of the field. I think him and James Harris had some contact there.
Yeah, that was a fantastic restart for Yanzak. Sabilo kind of looked like he was ahead, but Andrew Hale bringing out another caution tonight. This is going to be our 8th of the night, I do believe. So we're going for a record.
Yeah, and I think that really I think I saw James Harris do something similar earlier in the race. Unfortunately, that earlier incident had something to do with Levine was tagging Harris and sent him down into a driver. This time, I think it was mostly Harris all by himself, just getting loose on the top and coming down into Hale. So Hale's probably not going to be too happy about that. Is coming to pit road probably to get a little bit of damage fixed. As some other drivers as well coming to pit road as well. So curious to see how much damage we're going to get fixed here for some of these drivers. Some guys might be taking their last set of tires as well, as we're going to come down to, I do believe, less than 40 to go when the green flag flies again. I'm telling you, this has got to be torture for Keegan Sabilo, though. I mean, just to see all these yellows and him just pacing around here, nothing he could do to get that lead back.
This is definitely not the cream of the crop in terms of race pace. We went so strong, we had a good 40-50 lap green flag run, and it's just not really been the same since. We've had now 9 cautions in the past 35 or 40 laps. These drivers aren't really getting any rubber down on the track. Their tires aren't really getting heated up. I don't think tires are really going to come into play unless we can get a good green flag run starting this next restart. As we're only about 43, 42 laps to go. Going to be about 41 when the green flag comes out. Harris coming down pit road, trying to get some more of that damage fixed. I'm sure it's not much, but his nose, a little bit damage on the front end of that 55 of Harris. But going to be interesting to see. Sabilo has always been the control car for 8 of these, starts and restarts now. Now he's got Yanzak on his outside for the past couple. Going to be interesting to see, can, Sabilo actually kind of make a good restart together. He had good beginnings, but then doesn't try to get the black flag and has to kind of fall back going in the one. So Sabilo kind of on the other end we talked about. Hasn't been in traffic all night, hasn't really had to deal with other cars around him. He's used to being the control car and now really starting to show what he can and can't do as not being the control car, and kind of struggling a little bit on these restarts.
He definitely has been. And I think if he was able to do what he did in that last restart, but not be as ahead of Yanzak as he was coming to the restart zone, I think if he could do that again, but just be a little bit better, and I think he possibly could have a chance here. Kind of to be able to replicate what Craig Yanzak did. We'll have to wait and see. As surprisingly, we still have all 16 cars on the lead lap. Here comes Craig Yanzak coming out of turn 4, getting ready to enter the Geico restart zone. And the green flag is back out once again. And Sabilo not able to get going, but here he comes. He's going to try to see if he can get underneath the 77, or underneath the 3, I should say. Not quite able to get there. Oh, big hit on the wall from Brad Thacker.
And we're going to go ahead and re-rack them, and we're going to restack them for the 10th time. I'm starting to lose track. I only have 10 fingers, so I'm really starting to struggle here. So hopefully we don't have any more cautions. Young also a part of that. I think he was kind of a late race bystander, as has been the story of the book for him.
Jason Taylor just losing it in the center of the corner. And just George Young, another nowhere to go situation for the 48. I mean, that's been the story of his night. I mean, these guys have got to be getting somewhat upset, and short track tempers have got to be starting to flare right now. I mean, I could see a lot of these drivers seeing red.
Yeah, especially when it's kind of towards the back of the field. We only have 16 drivers tonight, and when you see a lot of these wrecks have been, for 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, the back half of the field, and some of it's just people driving in over the heads and, not letting the tires get up to temperature before really pushing, which I think that might have been a case with Taylor there, as he was one of the drivers that came down, I believe, that last caution and took tires. So might have just had cold tires and not really given a chance, nor has anyone really had a chance to get heat in them.
No, I think that's exactly the case. I know. I think even while we're under commercial, our producer even said the same thing, that they're just not able to get past that certain point to get the tires heated up. They're on these cold tires, and if they could get them heated up a little bit, I don't think that we'd see as many of these issues. But the more cautions we see, I think the more likely we see even more cautions, just because of the simple fact that all these guys they haven't gotten their rhythm back as well. And you can even speak to that, having driven on this racetrack and also driven just in real life in general at a short track. Rhythm is so important at tracks like this. And if you have caution after caution, you lose that rhythm.
Oh, 100%. We have the lights off the pace car here. This track, though, very unique. If you get bumped out of a groove or you can't really get the rhythm down, it takes you 3, 4, maybe even 5 laps to get back into it.
100%. But here we go. Pace car, of course, has dipped down pit road at IRP. Green flag getting ready to fly once again as Craig Anzac with the field in hand. And there we are. Green flag back out. Anzac up through the gears as Justin Levine tries to hold off and fend off Brad Thacker. And it looks like he's going to possibly maybe get clear for third. And there he is, up to third. And so far, so good as we enter turn 3 and 4. Coming up to 36 laps to go. Brad Thacker, of course, now under fire from William Mann Jr. as well as Mark Math, up to 6th right now.
Math has kind of been the story of the caution clock tonight, especially early on in the race. We saw him through that caution spree from lap 70, 100. Now he's going to get side by side, make a little bit of contact with William Mann. These two drivers have been going hard at it all night.
Oh, contact with the lead as Keegan Sabilo gets into the back of the 3, as well as we got a caution out from John Lucido. At least we made it, I think, 1 lap in that run. The base car, of course, is going to come back out as we see, I do believe, John Lucido, I think, getting tagged a little bit there by James Harris. And I think Lucido might have thought he was clear and unfortunately was not. As we see that contact there, that was for the lead. That was right before, I think, the caution came out. And you could tell Sabilo willing, I think, to maybe use the bumper to get that lead. I mean, I definitely could see that the gloves are off. These guys are ready for that boxing match here at the end of this race.
Yeah, I think if that had gone green, you might have seen Sabilo almost with the lead, depending on where the way the timing scoring was there. I think if it goes green, Sabilo's your guy. I think he's going to be able to easily drive around Yanzak, but he just has to be able to get a good green flag run and be able to get back in his rhythm. We saw him dominate the first 75 laps of this race and kind of trying to put things back together. We saw, we made it a lap, maybe even 2 laps. Yanzak been great on restarts, able to really drive into the corner, make a 2, 3-ish tenth gap, and the Sabilo in no time has no problem driving him back down and trying to make a move on him. So I think if it goes green, Sabilo's going to be in real good shape. But another person I want to talk about, Justin Levine, we talked about him real early on, all the way back in lap 1. First caution night, had a single car spin, and was really struggling there for the early stage, especially that long run. Was stuck way outside the top 10. We've slowly talked about him moving way back up, way back up, way back up, and now trying to compete for a podium finish tonight.
No, I definitely think he is one that's worthy to talk about. And, this is kind of Levine's style. He usually, at tracks that he's not necessarily as good at, if you give him a little bit of time, he's going to get good at it. I mean, this guy, the more time you give him, the more he's going to get that rhythm down. And he's one of the best drivers I know. I mean, every time we see him in competition here on Grid Vision, I mean, he is always putting on a great show and is always in contention to win. I mean, I know in this series itself, I mean, he's won a lot of races in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series and could possibly win this race if the right circumstances fall his way. Pace car lights are out, though. A lot of other drivers that are up here in the top 5 that were not up here earlier. You talk about Brad Thacker, not known as one of the most talented drivers in this series, but he's been really growing, I think, and just really showing that he's learning. And when you're on the track with guys that are so talented, like Levine, like Anzac, like Sabilo, you tend to grow and get better. And here we go, though. Pace car going to be dipping down pit road. Craig Anzac, once again, going to have the field in hand. what does Sabilo do? Is he willing to use the chrome horn? We're getting ready to find out as we exit turn number 4 and we enter the Geico restart zone once again. Green flag back out in the air, and good start from Craig Ganzak. A little bit of a bump to the rear end of the 77, but here comes Sabilo. Drives it in deep on the 33, or on the 3, I should say. And also side by side for third. Go ahead.
Ganzak has really starting to play mind games. He's gone a different spot in the restart zone almost every single restart. So that restart, we saw him go real deep in the restart zone. And Sabilo kind of had to check up because he tried to time it, mistimed it, had to hit the brake, and then Ganzak took advantage of that. Sabilo now off the back bumper. I just talked about if he is able to go green, Sabilo is going to have to really make up some ground. I think he's having no issue doing that now all over the back bumper. Go and give a little bit of bump to the leader, number 3 of Ganzak.
That's what I'm saying. He's willing to, I think, do that bump and run. He's trying to rattle the cage of Ganzak. Ganzak, though, always been one. Oh, there goes Levine. Big sideways slide through 1 and 2. And fortunately, he catches it, though, but now is under fire from the 56, as well as the battle for the lead. Starting to heat up once again. There goes Sabilo. Once again, a big bump to the renter to 3. I'll tell you, Ganzak's going to be a hard driver to shake. You try to pressure him into making a mistake. You try to bump him. He's the one that usually is doing the bumping. So I would not be surprised to see Ganzak already knowing exactly what's coming and probably prepared for it.
Yeah, Sabilo wasn't really in traffic for most of this race, but he's driving like he's been moving through it for the last 123 laps. As we're looking at 27 to go now, Ganzak on the heavy defense, trying to fence Sabilo, trying to make a bit of a gap with a bit of a buffer, and he just can't quite get there, as Sabilo is almost identical with times. He can't really pull away from him, and now he's making him drive as hard as he can, burn up his tires. It's going to be interesting to see someone like Justin Levine possibly try to make a move. I don't think he's going to be able to, as now he's 1.3, 1.4 seconds off these leaders, but Sabilo is not really hesitant at all to use that front bumper.
Only bad thing is if Ganzak and Sabilo take each other out, that leaves Levine as the probable winner as we come now to 25 to go. Still some contact, 77, into the rear end of the 3 again. These guys are getting physical, and I love it. This is this is like some short track action on a Tuesday night. Give us a like if you're enjoying it. Here comes Sabilo to the top. He's going to see if he can make the time work. And I think he's going to get the run. He got it. He's got it. And Ganzak able to save it, but still.
Quite.
Oh, and he might even lose second.
Ganzak was willing to do nothing all the way out of 2. Kind of got a little bit bumped, got real loose, lost a lot of rear grip, and was saving it pretty much the entire time down the back straight. We're going to go back and watch a replay here. It wasn't real ideal for Ganzak. You see the bump there. Sabilo actually got in the wall, and just Craig kind of got loose, lost our rear grip, kind of put Ganzak in the wall, and was saving it all the way through 3 and wasn't able to get it slowed down and hit the wall with that right front. Now, with these trucks, they run steel bodies, and obviously it's just iRacing, this isn't real life, but with the new damage model, even the littlest bit of contact we haven't seen it tonight, but we've seen it plenty of times before, especially those familiar with the platform. This littlest slight hit on the wall, a little tap like Ganzak had there, can actually be monumental, especially for long run speed. So that might come into play here as we look into the winding down this race. With 22 to go, hopefully we have 22 green flag laps, as Ganzak now trying to chase down Levine for a second.
Battle going on, of course, I do believe for this 5th place position. Meyer trying to take a position from Mark Math, as this, of course, is some intense battling. There goes Meyer back up into the top 5. What a recovery for the 24. Got to give him a ton of credit. Side by side, of course, James Harris, I do believe, with Sean Boundy. That is for that 10th place position. But what a race this has been. Keegan Sabilo, who led the first half of the race, is now back onto the throne. As, of course, he was willing to put the pump and run on Craig Ganzak. And, wow, this has definitely been an awesome race here at IRP. We couldn't ask for a better race here. With 20 laps to go now, James Harris now battling with William Mann Jr. for the 9th place position. And what a race as we see Levine, of course, 6/10 back from Keegan Sabilo. Last time by, he was about a 10th faster. Can Levine make something happen here with possibly, like you said, Sabilo having a little bit of damage on that truck?
That's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Sabilo currently tied. with a three-way tie for fourth in points. So any point will put him in front of Meyer and Levine and move him solidly in the fourth. But also James South, who's only 1 point behind and 2 points behind Harris. He's looking to make up a lot of ground points and maybe even steal the lead from Lucido, who's currently running all the way down in the 14th position. So we might see not only a first-time winner for this season come out, but also a new championship leader. As you see Levine really having to struggle with Lanzak on the inside of him. Lanzak sending it real deep in the corner, trying to make a move, and Levine with a crossover, not quite able to seal the deal. Almost no contact between those two, as we see this battle really heating up.
You can just tell how on edge these guys are here. Of course, Justin Levine, what set him up to be able to, or to have to be under fire from Yanzak is he got a little tight, got up into the wall, and that, of course, gave the three a chance to get underneath them. Yanzak, who has been essentially the master of, I'd say, the slide job here tonight, has just big send on Levine, was able to get clear. As here comes Nathan Meyer on Brad Thacker, going to try to get one spot better. As, of course, they are side by side for fourth place. Big battle going on right now as Meyer getting pinched down a little bit by the 56.
Yeah, Meyer was one of those trucks that took advantage of that spree of cautions, pitted only about 33 laps ago, so for that lap 105 caution, didn't hesitate to come, or lap 100, I'm sorry, didn't hesitate to come on down, threw some stickers on it, didn't get a whole lot of heat in them. So while everyone's been out here, doing restart after restart after restart, a lot of these guys put 5 or 6 restarts on their tires. And while that doesn't sound like a lot, you're still going through multiple heat cycles. Nathan Meyer went ahead, took advantage of that, put on tires late into that restart cycle we went through there. So he has the freshest tires out of almost anyone in the field by a good 30 or so laps. Now, that's not 30 green flag laps, but that is quite a bit of grip. As you can see, he's been one of the fastest trucks, easily by almost a 10th, if not more, and try and catch down the second and third place trucks of Yanzak and Levine.
As well as Andrew Hale. Andrew Hale's looking really quick as well. I mean, he's about just as fast as Nathan Meyer. We see this battle going on for second place. Yanzak got by Levine and looked like he was probably going to drive away, but that is not what happened. Levine, of course, has not left the three machine alone. This could get physical as well. And also, yellow flag is back out. I do believe William Mann Jr. with some issues. This could be curious. This also gives Craig Yanzak another crack at the 77. As we take a look back, and it looks like the 29 just getting loose off of turn number 4. Now, of course, the 77 roughed up the 3. Will we see the 3 rough up the 77? As we just see, again, another replay there. Ball, very good heads-up driving to be able to avoid the 29 who was sideways in front of him.
That man not really having a great night. He was involved in the lap 93 caution. I think we're going to see a lot of drivers go and take advantage and come down and take tires. We've ran, I just talked about 6 or so laps. And Sabino and Yanzak, go ahead and stay on. Levine taking advantage, coming down pit road from third. Then they're going to see Hale, who's really quick, Meek, and Boundy try and make up some lost ground along with Lucido, South, Young, Taylor, and Mann, all electing to come down and take tires. So now you have a battle of new tires and old tires. Everyone was driving fairly competitive, only about 4 or 5 tenths off of new tires. So I feel like if you're Sabilo and Yanzak, you might have messed up here. I honestly, coming from a driver's standpoint, having that experience, you're going to have the top 3 or 4 guys on new tires. But it's going to be interesting to see, I'm sorry, top 3 or 4 guys on old tires. Maybe a little bit more than that. I'm not entirely sure who's going to stay up. We're going to get that as they come across the line here. So it's going to be interesting possibly to see if new tires comes into the equation, as we now look at almost 10 to go. When we go green here, it'll be a little bit less than that. So, going to be interesting. I keep saying interesting because this whole race has been interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, to clarify, 7 drivers have stayed out. So, and they have about 30-plus laps on their tires right now. So, Keegan Sabilo and Craig Yanzak have a little bit of a buffer, I'd say, back to, of course, the newest tires in the field, which is Justin Levine. Now, it's going to be curious. It's very difficult to get through traffic at this racetrack. So I'm very curious to see how this really plays out, if this is going to work out in Levine's favor. Very bold decision for him to come down when he did, especially when we have less than 10 laps to go. He's going to really have to make up a lot of time in a quick amount of time. And if we see another caution in quick succession, that's going to, I think, deflate the balloon there for Justin Levine.
Yeah, I don't think a caution is what he's looking for. Maybe if he can go 2, 3 laps and then everyone else comes down in front of him, then he's in a really good spot. But Levine got to pass 7 cars in only a matter of laps. Looking at about 1 car a lap here, so it doesn't sound like a lot, but with how struggling it is to pass here, with it being pretty much 1 lane around the top as the pace car goes and pulls in, it's gonna be interesting to see Levine with those new tires.
And here we go. Keegan Sabilo versus Craig Yanzak, round number probably 10. I don't know. These guys have had a ton of rounds here tonight, been battling each other all night long. Does it get physical again? I think it will. If I was a betting man, I'd say it will. As we enter the Geico restart zone, green flag is back out. Sabilo wise to Yanzak's game here, but here comes Yanzak, big send on the 77, and he gets up into the side of him, and he's going to bring the caution back out. Yanzak's going to lose a lot of positions and big hits. Sean Bounty into the 3 as well as James South. Wow, I cannot believe of the sin that Yanzak just pulled. He thought that was gonna work out, but unfortunately it did not.
There's a lot of wrecks happening there. Sabino didn't sound too happy on the radio there. We've seen Yanzak send it time and time again, and I just don't think that time was the right move. It didn't really have anywhere to go. Just really sent it with the intention, I feel like, of hitting and wrecking Sabino there as the entire field slides into him. We got guys like the name we just talked about, Harris involved, Brandon Ball involved, Bounty involved, Hale with a little bit of damage, and John Lucido all being involved in that one. Also, Color Me Stoked, number 15 of Jason Taylor, also getting some damage in that. And also with that caution, that's now our 13th caution. We have tied the season record. Bristol had 13 cautions a couple weeks ago, so now we are looking at hopefully breaking the record. Hopefully not breaking the record for most cautions in this season.
Well, if we get another caution, that's green, white, checker territory. But taking, another look at this, we're seeing kind of the aftermath of secondary crashes here. As we see Brandon Ball, I do believe, getting some contact with some other drivers. Justin Levine, of course, going around after pitting. I don't know. I think him pitting probably put him in that danger zone, but he might have been in a danger zone either way. But, yeah, I don't know. I think very interesting decision there for Craig Yanzak to try to send it in on Sabilo. And I don't blame Sabilo for being upset. I mean, Sabilo was up there about as high as he could go on the racetrack, and Yanzak just sent it up into his left side. I mean, you can understand why Sabilo, the 77, would be a little bit upset about it. But then again, I think he fared a lot better than Yanzak did. So, he still could possibly win this race. I mean, I don't think the damage was too severe. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't think he really has anything to worry about as far as damage. I don't think it really broke anything except for a lot of clips and emotions in the back of the field there. Going to be interesting to see. I don't think anyone's used any fast repairs. If they haven't already, they just did. So going to be exciting as we watch Sabilo. Now, Thacker going to be on his inside. I'm assuming depends on what line Sabilo takes here. And then Nathan Meyer. Meyer does have a little bit fresher tires than Sabilo and Thacker. Not by much, but Meyer on about 20-ish or so lap fresher tires. There were a lot of cautions, there was 20 lap gaps. And then Sean Bundy, first car on freshies in 6.
Now, that's definitely a very good point. I mean, Meyer, before that caution came out, was about a tenth faster than the drivers up here. So if he can make quick work of Harris and Brad Thacker, he might have something for Sabilo here. And, of course, the car doesn't look bad for Sabilo, but there could be some damage we're not seeing. We'll have to wait and see as we get ready to have the green flag come out. Next, if we have another caution, this will be a green-white checkered, as I do believe we're going to have a 3-lap shootout as we enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out. Sabilo up through the gears. Really good start for James Harris. And he's, of course, able to possibly get side by side with Thacker. Thacker's able to, I do believe, clear him. This is going to be close.
They're going to be side by side all the way through the field off of turn 2. Meyer really trying to make it stick on the bottom. Thacker going to wash up into the wall a little bit. They're going to be 3 wide as Meyer try and make it on the bottom. They're going to go right behind him.
And that is Sean Bounty getting turned.
That's everyone and their mother.
And Sean Bounty gets turned, of course, and brings out the caution. And that puts us in territory for a green-white checker. And, of course, we have the potential of having 2 of those. So we're going to start number 1. And that is, like our producer just mentioned, a new record for the amount of cautions we've had here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. And even so, I say this has still been a great race. I mean, we're taking a look at the 34 of Bounty. Let's see exactly what happened. You see they were stacking up ahead of Bounty. Bounty gets into the back of the 55, and of course, John Lucido as well as Mark Math both get into the 34, and that is where everything kind of just went haywire.
Yeah, we've ran 14 cautions now for 52, going to be a little bit more than that, about 53, 54 laps when it's all said and done. So almost a third of this race has been ran, actually over a third now has been ran under caution. If you're these drivers, you haven't really had a chance to get in a rhythm. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Now we've had 3 cautions in the past 15 or so laps. As you see, South and everyone else kind of stacking up. Nowhere to go for anyone, although... want to give a shout out. George Young finally made it through one without hitting anything. So George
Good
Young
for him. Good for
finally
him.
not the innocent bystander.
Good for him. I'm glad he finally got through one of them. That's great.
All it took was just 14 cautions, but he finally got it done.
He figured it out. That's right. There we go. Of course, setting ourselves up for overtime. Of course, we're going to extend the race by a little bit here. And let's see exactly what happens. Brad Thacker going to have a shot at this. Nathan Meyer is going to have a good shot at this as well. Of course, Keegan Sabila probably feeling somewhat like a sitting duck, ready for this thing to be over. But I think if he is able to nail these restarts, he's going to probably be able to win this race unless someone sends it in and tags him. But it very well could be the case. I mean, we've seen it already tonight. Could we see it again? I mean, Brad Thacker, all it takes, all that's in the way of him winning this race is the 77.
They're going to be real exciting to watch who's on their toes, who goes, and who kind of checks up. You might be expecting a late race caution, but you only have one more green white checker if we do get a caution. If you see that white flag, it is racing to the checkered flag no matter what happens. So you might see people kind of, with a real sense of urgency. I know we've been talking about that all night. We've seen a Rex for first. We've seen a Rex for 16th. So kind of going to be exciting to watch who makes a move, who sends it, and who might yeet. It's like that's cool amongst young kids.
That's what the
Yeet.
cool people say. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
we might see someone yeet that 77 as Sabila, who's been so strong and powerful all night.
No, he's definitely been, I think, the truck of the field here tonight. The pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get started. Green, white, checkered. Number 1, I should say, as the pace car dips down pit road for what could be the final time. As Keegan Sabila, the 77, gets ready to see if he could possibly win himself a race here. Definitely going to need the points. And what can Brad Thacker do? What can James Harris do? What can Nathan Meyer do as the green flag is out? And can they make it to the white flag? If they can, next flag will end it. Big sin for Brad Thacker. Gets cleared of James Harris. Here comes Nathan Meyer. He's going to battle, I think, with the 55 as a huge battle. Oh, Meyer gets clear of Harris. Harris just almost gets turned, I do believe. But here we go, a 3-wide scenario with John Lucido, our points leader. Oh, and there goes Harris. Oh, Harris is around, but I think we got the white flag either way.
We are going to death and checkers here. The whole field's kind of made it by, but they're all ranking going into turn 1. No one's really stopped on the front stretch, so good, clean sailing for Sabilo. He's going to hopefully come around and see a checkered flag with his name on it.
And it looks like he is going to take care of business. Keegan Sabilo dominated the first half of this race, retook the lead, and, of course, never looked back, and he is taking care of business here tonight. He is, of course, going to win here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Of course, he has that short track experience in real life, and he made very much use of it here tonight as Brad Thacker comes up and gives him a little bit of a congratulatory bump as we take a look back at the replay. Of course, this is the contact. James Harris and Andrew Hale. Our, of course, points leader, John Lucido, turned heavily into the wall. And unfortunately, that definitely impacted the running order here at the end of this race.
Yeah, Keegan should definitely come out the points leader. I want to go ahead and look at the battle for second. We had a cross line. 4 thousandths of a second separated John Thacker and Nathan Meyer there. So Meyer had a real strong run late in the race. You're talking about him being on those fresher tires. Only 4 thousandths of a second going to separate second and third. But Sabilo should easily come out, no questions asked, as the points leader. James South, who was in third, was one of the higher finishing drivers in front of him, and he finished only in 7th.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic performance. Let's take a look at the final running order. Of course, you were just kind of going through the top three. Keegan Sabilo, our winner here. John Thacker, or Brad Thacker, finishes second. Nathan Meyer third. Andrew Hale finishes fourth. Justin Levine in fifth. Craig Ganzak, sixth place. James South in seventh. Tyler Meeks, eighth. William Mann Jr., ninth. George Young rounds out our top 10.
Now, Mark Matthew, we saw in multiple incidents throughout the night, going to be 11th. Brandon Ball, same story for him in 12th. Jason Taylor had a real strong truck here tonight, qualified, actually didn't turn on time, but running inside the top 10 for most of this race, going around out in 13th. John Lucido, your points leader, going in the race, going drop down quite a few spots in 14th. James Harris, 15th, and Sean Bundy, who we talked about was running second earlier in this race, didn't have the long run speed, and then going to ultimately end up the last car. All drivers finishing on the lead lap tonight, all drivers taking the checkered flag. Obviously, some with a lot more torn up race trucks than others.
100%. Well, with that, we're going to take one more brief step away. We'll be right back with our post-race show, where we'll talk to our top three finishers. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here at Lucas Oil Raceway. What a show towards the end. Of course, Keegan Sabilo was able to win. Brad Thacker in second. Person we're going to talk to now, though, is Nathan Meyer. Nathan, man, you had an up and down day here, but you were able to come home with third place. I mean, not a bad day. You kind of had a little bit of an interesting strategy there towards the end. You were on some of the newest tires in the field, and it seemed like it was helping you. But only 4,000ths that you was in between you and second place. Walk us through that those last few laps.
Yeah, I was walking back down to when I pitted. I was like 8th. I said, man, if we go green for 30 laps and I pit now, I'll catch them all. And it ended up happening, caught them all up, and then just those last couple restarts, just got stuck behind Thacker, and Keegan was choosing the high line, so I get stuck on the bottom. And yeah, it was good. Thacker's a good guy. I love racing with him, and it's just fun. But yeah, I got wrecked earlier. I don't even know what happened. I haven't seen it. And it was just kind of like, I got to get off cycle from these dudes to have a shot.
And it seemed like that off cycle, definitely seemed to pay off for you there towards the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, just walk us through like how difficult it is to race at this place. I mean, it's a very unique short track.
Yeah, before it started, we were in the practice session. I was like, guys, I hate this track so much. I just absolutely hate it. Car was loose. I don't like the braking zones. I just feel like it's weird. Well, I just, if you just stay consistent enough and not slide, someone's going to hit the wall in front of you. Someone's going to wreck, and you can just go by, even if you're not faster. And I was probably the 7th, 8th fastest car. So it's just about staying under control and not getting into it.
Well, it definitely seemed to work out for you. Of course, next week we're going to be doing the All-Star race at Twin Ring Motegi. Of course, you're going to exit, or going into that race, you're going to be second in the points. Of course, I don't believe that's actually a points race. But how do you feel about it nonetheless?
Yeah, I feel good considering the last few tracks. I've had really bad races and got wrecked or wrecked myself at Bristol. So to still be second and still getting able to talk to you guys every Tuesday, still good. Feel good.
All right. Well, who can we shout out after your third place finish?
I told Thacker I'd shout out NPR because those guys are fun to be around. And thanks to you guys and Champion Power Equipment for doing this.
All right, Nathan. Well, we'll see you next week at Twin Ring.
All right. See you there.
Alrighty, that was Nathan Meyer, driver of the 24 machine. Of course, Brad Thacker apparently cannot wait to talk to us. So, Brayton Laster standing by.
Brad, you had a fantastic, quiet unlike everyone else for the most part, clean race. You walked away with the least incident points. You kind of were quiet most of the race, ran inside the top 10, but you didn't make a whole lot of noise. How would you say your race went for you?
Well, I somehow qualified better than I expected, and like you said, this is a race of attrition. Everybody puts the stripe on the outside of the truck, and I just avoided traffic, avoided crashing, and I really struggled. I had the balance with the brake balance off, and I fell back in the middle of the race, and finally fell back far enough I could adjust it in car without killing the field. And then once I got the brakes adjusted, I was able to move back up. I don't know why I'm in second. I don't know how it happened. I have to thank Craig for crashing, I guess, to get me up here. But it's just a quiet race. I just showed up, logged laps, and I don't know how I did it, but here I am in second. That's about all I can say.
Yeah, they're actually going to be third in points. This is your second podium finish in a row. Last week you got third at Daytona. So you have only 5 races left in the schedule. If I'm trying, maybe not. I lied. But I'm struggling here. We did great all night. You have a couple races into your 5 races into the schedule now. How do you feel? You've established yourself, your presence. You're going to be running up front. How do you feel going in the rest of the season as your third in points?
I don't know. Honestly, Atlanta's coming up, I assume, and that's always who knows what. I'm gonna do my best, show up, and hopefully I can run a clean season and find my way in the top half at the end of the race. Being third, if that's positive. I don't know if I've been that high this early in the season, so hopefully, man, I can knock folks out and keep winning by attrition. Ryan Newman my way to the front.
Awesome run tonight. Anybody want to thank?
Oh, always champion Kevin Kersher for putting up with us and helping get this put on. And then, of course, every night's a fun night when you're with the mid-pack racing, NPR guys. We spend most of our night cutting up and having fun, and it doesn't even feel like a race at all. So shout out to those guys. George Young's my hero, but Texas Rangers are going to beat everybody. No one likes Philly.
Awesome.
Alrighty, of course, that was Brad Thacker. Definitely thanks for your time, Brad, and we'll see you next week.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Go Rangers.
Alrighty, that was Brad Thacker. A little bit of, jabbing, at a fellow driver out on the racetrack. But we're going to talk to, of course, our winner. Keegan Sabilo definitely had, I'd say, the best truck all night. Dominated the first half. Had to battle very hard with the 3 of Craig Gansack. Walk us through what was going through your mind there at the end, Keegan. Congratulations first off.
Thank you. Yeah, I was frustrated on that restart for sure. I knew I had to get it back, but I'm gonna race how I get raced, right? I get raced like that all the time by the same person, so I didn't go out there and dump or anything. Just raced him the way I felt I get raced all the time, and it just eventually ended up leading to him making a mistake and me being able to get to his outside around him. And from there, it was just about staying out in front of the trouble and not being involved in any wrecks there, and not making any mistakes, and just focusing the last 25 laps or so there to close out the deal.
Well, I know earlier in the race y'all had a really long run, and you had got out to about a 6-second lead. I mean, you were eating the snake's tail there at the end, putting guys a lap down. How disappointed were you when that caution came out? I mean, because that gap just disappeared.
Well, I actually, believe it or not, I was actually excited that the caution came out, because that took any bit of fuel strategy that we had out of that race. Green flag, because it would put me in a position to either hope there was a caution and run the fuel limit out and trap guys lap down, or pit and risk getting a caution. So I was actually thrilled to see that yellow, because that took that decision out away for me, and it was like the toughest one of the whole race. So that one of the race there for me, I think, decision-wise.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely made it a little bit, because, I could have very easily have. I know James South had pitted, and he ended up going several laps down because of the caution coming out just a lap later, and that could have very easily happened to you. So interesting to see it that way. I definitely didn't see it that way. I would have been a little bit like, man, I got 6 seconds, now it's gone. But, I definitely get what you're saying. How do you think your real life experience, you know, kind of translates into this track? Because I mean, is this anything like what you drive in real life?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I know Brayton here is a guy who raced all these Indiana tracks too. But a lot of these racetracks we go to are old and worn out. You know, a lot of tracks in Indiana I go to race at. You know, I was just at Winchester this past weekend out there for the 400 race, and you know we go to Anderson quite a bit. We're not racetracks. It's all about rhythm. It's all about hitting your marks and rhythm every lap. You know, there could be a guy out there that could be, you know, trying to move you every lap, you know, running the wall behind you faster. You just got to stay calm. Hit your marks, not destroy your tires in any way, and follow your rhythm. And eventually, you'll see, you know, after a long time, tires end up eventually doing long run on a short track.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they definitely did matter on the long run. Of course, great job to you, Keegan. Next week, we're going to be heading to a much different racetrack. Of course, that is the Twin Ring Motegi, as I've been corrected by my producer several times. Of course, that is going to be the All-Star race. How are you feeling about that? Much different racetrack, something I know for a fact you don't have a lot of experience on.
Oh, I don't even know if I might have 10 laps on it in my whole sim racing career, but you know, we're just gonna go there, we're gonna have fun, right? It's an on-point race. There's no pressure really. You know, if we have to try something different to win, we're gonna have to try something different to win. So that's the one goal there, is to go win that race. I'm mad at myself for losing the last All-Star at Eldora, so gotta go get some redemption there. But can't wait for these next 5 after the All-Star, because we're gonna be points race and we're gonna see what we can do.
Of course, you are the points leader, so definitely you are going to be points racing, that's for sure. Great job, Keegan. Who can we shout out?
Yeah, I can't show enough to all the sponsors in the truck. Just Bosco Designs, After Hours Restorations, Johnson iRacing Team, Admin Box, still be there racing esports, although I'm the only one from there that races in this team, or on the team for this league, but you know, always fun to race with them occasionally. My teammates for the night, you know, Sean Boundy, one of my longtime friends, Tyler Meeks has been joining us the past couple of weeks. Fun racing with them. Thank you to Champion Power Equipment and Kevin and all he does. James, everyone who puts this on. It's a lot of fun to come out. Thank you to you guys at Grid Vision for putting on an awesome broadcast for us, and can't wait to see what we got for the next 5 weeks.
All right, Keegan. Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you as always. Good win, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, that was Keegan Sabilo, driver of the 77. A fantastic performance from him. I mean, definitely had the, I think, the truck to beat out there. He definitely showed, I think, his real-life experience on the racetrack. And I'll tell you, even though I'm sure they might not feel like the same way, Craig Ganzak and Keegan Sabilo, I'll tell you, up here in the booth, that was awesome to watch those guys battling like that. Wouldn't you say, Brayton?
Oh, 100%. That was the class of the show, especially after Sabilo drove 6-7 seconds away early in the run, having an awesome late race battle like that, especially after the middle part of that race was caution after caution after caution. It was caution squared, if you ask me. So having an awesome late race battle there between those two, and then Janzak kind of coming up really empty-handed, didn't really get the finish that he wanted, ran top 3 the entire night, and only made it up to 6 there with that green white checkered dash. So hopefully we see a battle between these two going into next weekend, which is actually the All-Star. But for the final 5, it is 5 races. I confirmed it. I don't know why I didn't think it was 5, but there are only 5 points races left for these drivers. It's gonna be real exciting to see who comes out on top.
100%, of course. While let's take a look at the schedule for the remainder of the week. Now that we have completed the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series race here at IRP. Of course, Lucas Oil Raceway. Let's take a seat. Let's see exactly what we got on the docket for the remainder of the week. Of course, Thursday, Talladega in the SSRL Truck Series. Of course, it's going to be exciting to see that one, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big Bad Talladega. Always love some super speedway action. Of course, Friday night, we're going to see the NIS Top Split guys all in, of course, arriving at Homestead Miami Speedway. That's going to be a good one. I tell you what, it's going to be all about tire wear, resource management, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in. You don't want to miss it. Saturday, of course, major series action. Of course, North Wilkesboro. I think they're coming up on a couple races left in their season, if I'm not mistaken. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to have the 1987 NASCAR cars out there on the racetrack at Wilkesboro. 400 laps of action there. Doubleheader race, of course, on Sunday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Homestead in the Truck Series for the Global Racing Truck Series. Later in that night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to see the Xfinity cars, of course, at Homestead as well in the RGR Kalu Glass Cup Xfinity Series. And that is, of course, going to wrap up the week. Definitely an exciting week ahead of us for sure. But with that, that is going to bring us to the conclusion of tonight's broadcast of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series on Grid Vision. Congratulations to Keegan Sabilo for picking up a win. He definitely earned it and definitely had the best car here tonight. Thanks to everyone that tuned in as well. I want to thank my co-commentator, of course, Braden, for joining us here tonight. Definitely, hopefully we get to call some more races together. Definitely enjoyed our time together. Also, Austin Darbyshire down behind the cameras. Anyone else involved with Grid Vision as well, I want to send you a big thank you. My name is Brian Britt, and I'll see you next time.